Well, Robbie, this is the first time, obviously, we've had a conversation with you. So, welcome to MK Dons. How are you settling in?
Well, thank you for that, and it's nice to meet you as well. Yeah, settling in pretty well, I think. Obviously, came in at the back end of last week and preparing for a game straight away, getting to know staff, getting to know players, how the football clubs run from behind the scenes, and I have to say, everybody's made me feel very welcome. Obviously, it was good to maybe have an away game and get away for the evening, so you get to know people in that environment as well. And obviously to finish with 3 points on Saturday, it's been a good start. So into Monday morning preparing for the next game now.
And it's interesting. I think sometimes when assistants are appointed, there's always an assumption that the head coach or manager and the assistant have known each other for years. They've worked together, consistently. But actually, that's not how football works. And your working relationship with Mark is quite a new one in many respects.
Well, yes, that's true. I would say we sort of come from similar backgrounds in developing younger players, and this is Mark's first step into senior sort of management, if you like. But in fairness, all the managers that I've worked under before, that was the first time I've worked with them as well, with the exception of Sam Allardyce for my second time at West Brom. So it is part of the game that you're adaptable, and I see my job here as supporting Mark. I've had experience of being a manager myself. I've had various assistant and first team coaching roles at some big clubs under some big managers. So I'll be drawing on that experience to help him, but support him and the rest of the staff and players.
Is there ever a scenario? And of course, Mark's already talked about your arrival and talked about the help that he's going to need with a big job at Stadium MK. Is there a way of complementing each other? Obviously, the gaps in maybe not necessarily his knowledge, but gaps in what Mark can achieve and know can be filled in by you, and vice versa.
Well, that's how I see the role. So every manager that I've worked under, my roles changed each time because each manager has a different grasp on what they want to do day to day. Some were very hands-on, some weren't, and preferred to take a backward step and just watch. I always felt whatever that needs to be. So, if there's an instance where I can see that Mark needs to go deal with something in one area, I can deal with it in the other and support that. If it means that it's good cop, bad cop either way, I can support that. So it's all about making sure that we cover as many bases as we can. I have to say, coming to MK from certainly other jobs I've had, the infrastructure behind me and Mark is very strong as well. So and that's even with the people above us to people working in the offices. So I see no reason why we can't have a successful sort of relationship in terms of how we work. And like you say, he's got a very clear identity of how he wants his team to play, which is a help. He's got a real vision of what he wants to do, and I'm excited by that, and hopefully I can help him on that journey with him.
And there was no part of you that was had a certain amount of trepidation coming to a club that was in the position that MK Dons were in the bottom four. There's a lot of work to be done, but presumably that's something you want to get involved with.
Well, it's twofold really. You don't usually get offered jobs that teams at the top of the division, do you? Because usually the manager's not left. So that's one. I have had opportunities since Rochdale to get back into the game. I've had two management opportunities in this country and one abroad. It was something that I felt was very samey to what I'd been through in the previous 15 months, and I wasn't really in that frame of mind that I wanted to go through that again so soon. I wanted to go to a club where I felt I had a chance, that I had the infrastructure. And when I came and met the guys, I came for the game against Lincoln and met everybody and sort of got shown around the stadium. It's the first time I've ever been, never coached here before. I was just really impressed with the possibilities that we can do here. Now, the position we find ourselves in, you're quite right, we need some points on the board. We need to climb away from that relegation zone, and that's first and foremost. I'm not looking too far into the future, but if we can do that, and I believe we can with the players that we've got in the building and some potential new ones coming in, then I think the possibilities at this football club are really high, and that's quite exciting for a coach.
And just getting out of the relegation zone after being there for a long period of time must be an incredible mental boost for everyone at the football club. It must just give everyone a little bit of a lift. I know there's a long way to go, and it's just the first time out of the relegation zone. But it's a nice boost for everyone, isn't it?
Well, it's a start, isn't it? It's a start because I see it now that there's a cluster of clubs above us that are maybe 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, but we need to start clawing back. So that would be my message to the players, along with Mark and the rest of the staff. I think, yes, you got to make sure that you're looking forward, of course. But my belief is if we can claw a couple of more teams into it above us, then it looks healthy even still. So we've got a really difficult game tomorrow night. Shrewsbury had a good victory at the weekend. We've watched a couple of games, very organised, very disciplined, very physical, a proper team. So it's going to be a difficult game, no doubt about it.
And just finally from me, Paris McHome has been brought in on loan from Brentford, another addition to the squad. And what kind of player is Paris for people that don't know?
Yeah, so Paris is a very sort of physical box-to-box midfielder, if you like. Very good technically, can play sort of a couple of positions in midfield. Probably different to the midfielders we've got in the building, which is really good. It means that we can sort of change the way we play sometimes and change the tempo of attacks and defence. So he'll come in and support the rest of the midfielders and give us another option. So we're really pleased to have him.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
With Mark's style, does your sort of view on football sort of coincide with his, and is that why you kind of got along and why you took the job in the first place?
I think so. Obviously, when the first initial contacts were made, the football club quite rightly did the due diligence on myself, and saw the stats that my team had at Rochdale, which were very high in lots of aspects. And I think in terms of how they want to play or eventually get to play, that fits. But it's a process. It's quite a common word in football, but you look at some of the top teams now that have stuck by people and given that opportunity over a period of time, and you see the rewards. So like I say, Mark has a very, very clear vision of what he wants his team to look like, and we're not anywhere near what that looks like at the moment because players are getting used to his style and ways. But I do believe that we'll get there and we'll make steps along the way, and hopefully in a not too distant future you'll see something that resembles a really strong football team.
Saturday's conditions didn't really lend itself to that sort of game, did it? It was one of those where you just had to grind it out. But I suppose in the position that Dons are in, those wins are probably more important because you just need to be able to get wins over the line by any means necessary.
Well, yes and no. I think it showed a side of the team that was really pleasing. It showed a grit, it showed a desire. I think we'd all love to play beautiful football and win 2 or 3-0, and on a sunny day at the start of the season when the pitches are fantastic, you might see that. I think what we saw on Saturday was a very gritty performance. The pitch was difficult. Obviously, they've not managed to do any work on it since the cup game in the week. It was still hard, I have to say. I thought at one point we're in danger of not playing the game, but credit to the players. It was there was moments in the game of real quality. I think the second goal, with the pass and the finish, was very good, and there was bits that we really liked. But the most pleasing aspect for me was that once we went a goal behind, we showed real character to come back into it. And again, there's different ways to win football games. I'd love to be sat here saying that we won 3-0 and it was all air time with 10 minutes to go, but it still counts for 3 points. So I'll take a couple more of them this week if that's what's needed.
Yeah, I think everyone will take certainly 3 points tomorrow night. What are you expecting from the Shrewsbury side then?
Well, we're going to have to not only match their physical sort of, aspect to the game, and that's not to diminish it. They're a fit group of players. They're very strong from set plays. They play with 2 forwards who will run all day and put you under pressure. They've also got quality in the team in the midfield area. So it will be a different game again to what Forest Green was, but no less difficult. So hopefully we're at home. Hopefully the pitch and the size of the pitch will suit us. We'll be able to pass the ball around and make sort of good decisions with the ball, but against it we're going to have to be really strong, and there'll be moments in the game, I've got no doubt, that replica Forest Green on Saturday, where we're going to have to put our head in and we're going to have to tackle, we're going to have to defend our box. So we'll be ready for it, and like I said, it'll be a very difficult game.
And just finally, we saw that Ethan Robson and Nathan Holland were out injured for the game on Saturday. What's the update on them?
So yeah, coming on quite nicely, I think. Obviously, they're going to be missing for the 2 games this week. That's clear. But yeah, seeing Ethan on the treadmill there, and Nathan was actually a little bit poorly at the back end of last week. So I've just met him this morning, but again, he seems really positive with where he's at. So hopefully, you know, the more players that are available for Mark and myself to choose from, the better, because decision making for teams and squads is hard enough as it is at the moment. Wait until another week's time when we get a couple more in, and so those boys come back, it might be very difficult.